episode_number_15. Do you like it all? He laughed at her question. It's not an issue. I don't like it all in my life, but I have to take it in such a way because I have to be social to some extent. Because of my job. Ask one thing. Salah looked at him with some surprise. But he didn't say anything. If I don't come into your life, why would you marry such a girl as I used to be? She wanted to take Ramsha's name but she didn't take it. You mean which of the veiling and non-veiling women should I marry? Salah asked directly. She kept looking at his face. She really wanted to ask the same thing. Let me tell you something honestly. I do not marry a woman just by looking at her veil. A woman's veiling is not as important to me as her having some other quality. He was feeling shocked today. If a woman follows the commandments of Allah, her head and body are covered. But in addition to this one thing, I also wanted something more beautiful in the woman whom I had to marry. What kind of beauty? He got curious. Patience and tolerance and obedience. She looked at his face. These two are rare qualities. Everything else is raw in a small cube. Grease, overlook and mannerism and purdah too. But these two qualities are disappearing. If there was any tension, it would be over. Why do you like me? He finally asked Salah. An empty veil does not impress you. I never show patience and obedience. Then, no address. This is a question that I have never been able to answer. You can give many reasons to dislike. But I have no reason to like it. He used to say, while commenting. Before you used to intrigue me. Then you started to irritate me and then you started to haunt me. Then I got jealous of you. Then jealousy started and then love. He laughed a little helplessly. All these stages had only one thing in common. I can never get you off my mind. I think of you again and again. And only my heart went towards you. All I have to do is tell me my times. There was nothing else. So don't ever ask why I like you. It was an expression of helplessness more than love. And if all is not done, then you marry another girl instead of me. For example, from Ramsha. Salah looked at him in shock and then laughed. So this question is happening because of Ramsha. You're sly. You like it, don't you? She is serious despite his laughter. As a friend and colleague, Salah said. Imam did not say anything. Salah looked like he was deep in thought. What happened? Salah said, putting his hand on her hand. No, kid. I had a good time with you. Sometimes many people look good together with each other. Even two enemies look good together. What does this mean? Salah interrupted him. No. That's what I thought. I am very happy with you. Imam. This is the best time of my life. There is nothing in the world that I am missing. So you come out of your standards and ideas. Go in, eat, chat with people and that's it. Don't take this world home with you. While reading the novel that night, she was thinking about the conversation about Salah. He was working on his laptop. She looked away from the novel and started looking at Salah. He was diligent in his work. Salah. He contacted him after some time. Yes. Acting in the same way, he said. You are a good person. She felt strangely embarrassed as she described it. What? He was so busy. Imam did not listen to him carefully. I have defined you. He repeated. Thank you very much. His tone was still so casual. Aren't you happy? He is so normal. Imam did not have digestion. From what a surprise. I praised you. And I thanked you. But you don't like it? She was a bit curious. Do I feel good? Listen to me. I am a good person. When I see action, I am happy. And in this case, they cannot offer you any such action. Imam could not speak. He then turned to his laptop. He kept looking at her face for a while and then said, "Why did you take that ring from my hand?" Did he suddenly remember? And quote, "Because I don't want you to marry me." And quote. She was surprised at his reply. What happened? It was wine. He could not solve it. Sorry. Salah apologized to her, looking away from the screen. Imam's color was gone. In these parties there is also a loser. Social media is understood there. He turned back to the screen, telling her seriously. Imam's heart was filled with everything. He saw wine for the first time in his life and took wine in his hand. If she is not hanging out with Salah, she might be drinking. Her husband used to go to these parties and she could avoid him to some extent. Do it or not. His confidence began to falter. She could not check anyone's character in a few weeks. Even when he was trying to impress her completely in this first month of marriage. The respect he had for Salah a few moments ago disappeared in seconds. She was looking at him through the glass. He then went to Kandala. In his opinion, did he tell Salah that he was focused on his emails? She got up and went out of the room. She came to the washroom of the second bedroom and was rubbing her left hand aimlessly. It was a stupid move, but at this point, she couldn't take it anymore to finish her operation. She wandered aimlessly in every room of the house and sleep had completely disappeared from her eyes. Why does Allah not open the sky of peace without the land of worry? He thought he did not realize how long he had been standing by the terrace railing in the dark and cold. What are you doing? His train of thought was interrupted by Salah's voice behind him. He came here looking for her due to her long absence from the room. Imam looked at him in shock. I was looking down. What is below? Salah looked down at him. Down. Imam himself did not know. Below, not at all. Salah tried to see her face carefully. He thought he was absent-minded or worried. Let's go inside. Instead of saying anything, she went inside with him, fixing the shawl. You go to sleep and you will come later, he said to the old man who came in. I will watch some late TV. Salah was shocked. Imam was turning on TV in the remote control hand. For the first time after marriage, she was showing so much interest in watching TV. Is there a special program on TV? He asked. No. It will look the same. Imam looked at him and said. She wanted him to go. Instead of leaving, he sat next to her on the sofa. He removed the Leica TV from Imam's hand. The Imam looked at him with a little shock. I do not drink alcohol, Imam. I have tasted this fruit. What does it taste like? What is the effect of this? I am familiar with both. There is no sorrow drowned in my wine, nor is there a desire for a server. It's one of those sins I've been bitten by. Just make this supplication to Allah every day, so that He does not lead me astray from the straight path. She was expecting a question from him, not an answer. He had the mind of a psychologist. Now if you want to watch TV, watch it. Then go to sleep. Good night. He switched on the TV and gave the remote in Imam's hand and went to the bedroom. She kept seeing him. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. This conversation with Salah made it very easy for him. The Imam, going back to Hannah, did not know the people who came there. This time they didn't feel that bad. Why don't you talk to anyone? He was probably a chutha when he was asked by the old man who was changing his clothes at night before going to bed on his return. He was reading the novel. What kind of thing? Anything, he said, sitting on the bed. When someone asks me something, I answer. But you also ask someone. In these parties, he used to renew his constant silence. What do you ask? Ask about the situation. Then ask the family. You can talk about the child. You don't have to tell Far Gar Imam Ertu what they have to talk to each other. He stopped telling her, I will try to do well. He replied after thinking for a while. This is my social circle. You will meet these people again and again. You have to make friends out of them. But what am I supposed to do with friends? He said, opening the novel again. Salah raised his hand and took the novel from him. A book is good, but there is a world outside it that is also good. He was serious. She kept looking at his face. Having sneaked away from people, it has become very difficult to walk with them again. She herself did not understand what she wanted to say. That's why we want you to interact with people. So there's no need to hide. Wherever I go, you are my family. None of you will invest in your family's bar. He understood that. I will try to do well, he said, taking the book from Salah in a subtle manner. Also visit sister-in-law. He used to live in Noshan's bar. It goes, he said in a teasing tone. He watched it silently for a while. Don't look at me like this. Imam felt his eyes on his face and said by bending his neck, I will try as I said. Instead of saying anything, he took a blanket and went to bed. He started reading the book again, but after a while, he felt the eyes of the old man. What is it now? He looked at Salah with some confusion. No, kid. Imam felt a strange impression in his views. He slept very seriously. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. 2 weeks after Eid, their wedding ceremony was held in a hotel in Islamabad. If there was no opposition from Salah, Alexander would never have chosen Islamabad. William's approach was particularly simple. In the presence of nearly 2,000 people, the Imam was feeling as uncomfortable as he should have been. But despite this, she was happy. She regularly came under one roof as a part of Salah's family. He went to Bahamas for 2 weeks after William. It was Imam's first trip with Salah outside of Pakistan. Neither of them knew that they would never have such a calm and carefree day as these 15 days in their lives again. Their relationship was new, but their relationship was old. Salah's phone was on international roaming, but he was off most of the day. Banks and related businesses are protected by it. He was removed from his life for the sake of the world. Salah Bahamas was already twice as bright. He used to go to all the places where his army was famous. We will make such a lunch at our house. Salah craned his neck and looked at him. For a moment it seemed funny. But she was serious. Who will build on? Salah tried to remember something like that. On the lake Blah had seriousness. And where will the lake come from? He was shocked. You will make it. He went to see her. And where did the water in this lake come from? Imam thought for a moment. From the canal. He laughed. But Imam did not laugh. Extraction of water is more difficult than extraction of milk. He spread his arms over Imam's head. Imam shook his hand. Won't you make it? It was not a question. There was a threat. We will visit here, but next year you will go to Mauritius. Then next year, Maldives. Imam interrupted him. You will not build a lake. Imam, how did you make the lake? Or we Might build a house somewhere that naturally has water nearby. Salah tried to avoid it. Yes, that's right. It was affected by time, and Salah breathed the same coin. Sir, you are very good. Imam held his hand with love and said, Imam is blackmailing. Salah protested without raising his hand. She was making his jaw his collarbone. And quote, yes, yes, and quote, he said, shrugging his shoulders with ease. Again, Imam did not mention lunch for the rest of the day, and Salah thanked Allah for it. It was hoped that he would be forgotten. 4 days after his return, he showed Salah the new designs of the house in a dignified manner. That lake and lunch also became a part of it. That honeymoon was very expensive. She was the first woman in the world to shop at the lake and lunch on her honeymoon. And he was the first husband in the world who did not object to this shopping. Pictures and pictures were added to the wall of his apartment. They had one thing in common: the joy and sparkle in their face and eyes and the smile on their lips. They were made for each other. At least, those pictures were bent on proving it in every respect. Life was slowly going back to normal. Salah was busy after coming back. He was coming home from the bank around 10 o'clock, and the usual series of going out for coffee was interrupted for a while. Despite Salah's insistence, she used to wait for him for food. She started leaving the house with Nosheen from time to time. The scope of his life now began to expand outside the home, and Salah was increasing the income of this thing. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. She was channel surfing that day when her eyes fell on a channel. He couldn't believe his eyes for a few moments. It was a program about the stock market, and one of the two participants included in it was a year old. For a moment Imam was not convinced. She is looking at Salah on the screen, but after a few moments Salah's name and title flashed on the screen. So what was he saying to me? Imam thought after seeing his position. She was not connected to the PR, but at that time she was so excited watching him on the screen that she didn't even think about Salah's situation and his reasons. For the first time in his life, he watched a program related to finance with such passion and dedication. After listening and watching him in this program for half an hour, he felt that he was very impressive. Composure, confident, extremely sharp, and a complete professional. She was thinking about her appearance and personality for the first time in her life. And for the first time he realized that his voice is very good. After 2 months of marriage, seeing her husband on TV, she was deeply affected. Salah was in a post-lunch meeting when Imam called him. The meeting was ending, so he took the call and came out of the room. "Sir, are you on TV?" he just said. For a moment Salah could not understand. "What? You appeared on a TV channel in a program and you didn't even tell me. What was done before Duma will be repeated." Salah remembered. "What are you doing?" He changed the subject, but to what extent Imam was impressed by the program. "He must have come home. I have restored it." He was eating when Imam told him who he was surprised because he was talking about something else. "Thank you for your program. What was the recovery in it?" They were surprised. "You look great on TV." Imam, instead of answering this, said, "And you are in investment banking, not in PR." Imam told him. He smiled but did not say anything in response. "Have you seen your program?" Salah said to him, holding a fork in his hand. "There are many programs on Sweetheart in which many experts are invited every day. It has been featured in many programs before and will continue to be seen in the future as well. This is also a part of my job. He slapped his hand and picked up the fork again. Imam could not speak for a few moments. She was blushing as he poured a glass of cold water on her. Salah, interest is haram, isn't it? He himself did not understand why he said this in response to Salah's words. Perhaps this was a reaction of embarrassment. Yes. He cut a piece of kebab from the fork. Just take a moment to wake up. In exactly the same way that it is prohibited. Anger is forbidden. Backsliding is forbidden. Hypocrisy, slander and bad faith are forbidden. He said confidently, I am not talking about these things. Imam interrupted him. He interrupted the Imam in response. Why does all this cheesiness do less harm to society? Imam did not answer. Are you doing justify? He said finally. No, I am not justifying it. I was just saying that we cannot separate the parts from the total. Islamic societies are not harmed as much as other evils. She was looking at his face. If you tell me the 5 evils found in Pakistani society and if you eliminate any one of them, that would make the society better. Corruption, poverty, injustice, bribery or usury. I bet the 5th option will never be anyone's first choice. He was challenging and he could win the challenge. Because that's right. They'll want to kill one in the first place. Imam confessed in his heart. And interest is not only in banking. A late utility bill incurs a charge. If the school, college fee is late, it looks fine. These are also types of interest. He had no answer to her arguments. So you are into banking because you consider usury to be a common evil like other evils? Imam tried to wrap up the discussion. No. I consider it a great curse. So what will change in my thinking? This thinker should stop working in Muslim banks all over the world and open the way for people of other religions to come and take over. Take control of our economy. When you want, how you want, press our flower. Imam al-Jihi was looking at him from the point of view. This was their first discussion about interest. *************** Imam did not get any special occasion to cook during and after Ramadan. But now she started cooking for him regularly. He was not a fan of any particular food, except C4s. Despite strongly disliking C4s, he cooked for him once or twice a week in a closed C4's place. It was Sunday and she was busy preparing lunch. While talking to a friend on the phone, Salah had the illusion that she was crying in front of the sink. He got up from the sofa and came to the kitchen while turning off the TV from the remote control and saying, God bless his friend. She was not crying in front of the sink, but she was crying. 14 floors of Salah became bright. What happened? Shaking her head in the negative, she was engaged in her work. In the same way, Salah raised his hand and turned off the sink faucet. Why are you crying? He was incapable of real understanding. Imam, he never even touched these things in his parents' house. He said in a loud voice, turning on the water again. She was right. Even in her house, C4s were eaten with such passion, but she had a severe aversion to them. Salah did not understand for a while what he said. When did I ask you to make me this? You said yourself, I will bring you Sifu. And you will come and make it. Salah then turned off the water out of frustration. Look, don't make it. He sternly picked up the dishes from the sink and placed them on the shelf. This is not the case. I used to dream that when I can make my husband happy, then my mother also makes my father happy. He said in a hoarse voice. What was the pain? What was the pain? He went to see her. Despite his prohibition, he prepared this day. But seeing his red eyes, Salah felt so guilty that he could not even ask to eat properly. I will slowly eat this food. You will not have to make this again at home. No. You like it. Why would you want to? I don't know. That's what I thought. Slowly, slowly. My dislike will decrease. The Imam confirmed this. Just stay if you have to drink the energy drinks you drink, etc. And you will make some fresh juices. He laughed. He was really very used to these ranks, and the main reason was his lifestyle and his profession. With his help, he used to work comfortably all night. He used to eat from Imam's hand. Imam used to make her fresh chapati even when she came home late at night. And Salah had never eaten such chapati in his life. He had a slice and an egg for breakfast, and was the kind of guy to get away with a cup of coffee. And for the first time in life, there was a breakfast menu. Instead of egg, fried or boiled. Different types of omelets began to be found. Sometimes it happens. The drink was replaced by a glass of fresh juice. For lunch there are homemade sandwiches and salads. In the beginning, he reluctantly brought the lunch pack from home on Imam's insistence, but slowly, his unhappiness started to disappear. It was the food of the house. It was very valuable because his wife used to get up early in the morning to make it. He also started getting used to this glass of water, which she used to give him every day when he entered the house. I don't drink milk. When he first gave her a glass of hot milk, he told her very politely why. In response, he expressed such surprise that he remained embarrassed. I don't like I'm big like it. Why don't you like it? It doesn't taste good to me. She fell in thought. Sir, I'm in the middle of the night. Salah raised his glass and drank before he could finish his answer. He could drink poison, but not Voltine. The way a man was treated in his own home. She was also thinking this way. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. For Imam, life changed or started again after a long time. Salah never asked her whether she was the black and white owner of this house. It was impossible for such a person not to be a part of anyone's claim. He never had to remember Salah praying after the prayer. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Are you a Shiva? Are you alone? Salah still wanted to be sure. He was going to New York for 2 weeks for a workshop at his bank. I will live. However, the difference between brother and sister-in-law is not the same. This comforted the ruler. His flight was at 11 o'clock in the morning and he had left Peking at that time. Will you live without me? He said after listening to Imam. Yes. It's been 2 weeks. Imam said with great confidence. There are 15 days in 2 weeks. Salah said while closing the brief case. It's okay, it will pass. Salah took a deep breath. Yes, you will be missed. Mine won't. I'm already starting to miss you, man. He laughed. You go first. Published 2 weeks ago. Singapore. Last month. He recalled in a comforting tone. He went to Dubai for 2 days and Singapore for 4 days. It's 2 weeks. Yes, it's 2 weeks. Not 2 months or 2 years, he said with perfect satisfaction. Salah went to see him. Come on, it's good too. I will remember my name. I will not look at it. I will not do anything. Time will be your time. What did he want to hear from him? Yes. There will be enough time. I will complete a couple of paintings. There is housework and work. She will do it too. I have planned a lot. He grabbed the novel and placed his hand on her to stop her. Yawning. The goose grew up. My trip is blessing in disguise for you. I did not think that so many tasks are pending on my account. If there was anger in his tone, Imam did not notice. Come on. That's good too. They are big. If the visa is approved, I will take you with me. Did you even think about it? Don't worry. It will be fine. The Imam immediately did the pashtra. Instead of answering, Salah looked at her silently. What are you watching? Imam smiled seeing him. Your assurance. I can't speak the style of film heroines. Only movie heroines speak English. No. Heroes speak too. He laughed with satisfaction. Salah didn't even smile. She will be serious again. Don't go then. If you are missing so much. He challenged him as he did. You don't talk about love. But I will not accept any challenge from you. I like you, he laughed. You are changing. No. I am comforting myself. Let's get you some coffee. He got up from the bed and said, What time? Imam was not ready. At this time of night. Yes, until that day. You will not be able to swim enough. He was taking out the wallet and car keys from the drawer. But what has changed in the father? Don't change. Take a sheet. That's right. Salah interrupted him as he picked up the cell phone. After drinking coffee from Fortress, he aimlessly wandered around the stadium. Let's go home. You need to rest. Imam suddenly thought. I will rest in the plane. Imam did not understand why he is so serious and deep in thought. On his return, he bought a lot of fruit from a shop. Why buy so much fruit if you won't be here? Imam was surprised. Bought for you, perhaps you remember eating the fruit, he said with a smile. What is the condition for eating this fruit? He laughed uncontrollably. No. Humid. Imam has seen it. And 2 days after the departure of this real Salah, there was no problem. In Salah's absence, she used to eat Furqan's dinner. For 2 days, she would come back home after having dinner with Atimanan and then take out a novel and read till sleep. But the problem happened on the third night. That day was the first day in months that Salah had not called her all day. No message, no email was received. He was very busy since last night. He had already told her that he might not be able to talk to her for the next few days. She did not go to Farkan's dinner that night. His appetite disappeared. On this day he kept the computer on continuously, in the hope that he might send her an email. At night, he opened the fridge to take out the cream for coffee. Then he saw the piece of cake that he had eaten 2 days ago before going to the airport. And Imam did not understand. That's why he stuck the child of the cake what was in the fridge. After making coffee, she went out to the terrace where he used to sit on weekends. Do you like children? One day, he saw the child playing and making noise and asked the old man. Yes, but not like this. He laughed. His gesture was towards Sher. I like all kinds of children. Even those who are making noise, he said while looking down. Good for you, but I can't stand it. Salah said carelessly. They are the children of others, so they look bad. Your child's noise is never bad. It will take you, he said smoothly. Baby, one child is enough. Imam looked down in surprise. Why? How many should be? He was serious. He thought for a moment. The least trick. And more than 12. Salah laughingly added in his sentence. He thought it was a joke. And quote, I'm serious, and quote. He said, stopping his laughter. Come on kid. You are in your senses. Who will raise them? He became an uncontrollable concern. And quote. You and me, and quote. He said confidently. I can't have a baby. Salah raised his hand and said in a final manner. It's okay, you take a nap. Paul will be gone in 3. She said with satisfaction and started to look down again. Imam is known also in We Cannot Afford Children. I can do it. I have that money. They did not give, so you should invest in the children's army. Silla interrupted him in a huff. Imam felt bad. Instead of saying anything, he started looking down again in a world of extreme fear. Sweetheart. Salah tried to convince her by throwing her arm around her shoulder. Remove your hand. Imam shook his hand. What have I done? He is Janjalaya. You want me to be the center of the house, office, school, actors and marketers. So, what do you want to be doing? Was the answer from you. It would be wonderful. I don't understand why people don't keep their children at home at night. They bring out the cave to show others. He lifted his mask and went inside without answering the question. Imam had an uncontrollable laugh. She was still laughing when she saw the sign of the temple, and there was a commotion in the lawn below. He turned around and saw the string against the wall, on which he used to play the guitar by leaning it against the wall. It doesn't feel like it's cold enough. He was filled like this and came back inside the lake. Asterisk 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 asterisk. After Fajr, she was constantly sitting in front of the computer. No call, no email. She sent him 45 emails intermittently before she became frustrated. No reply means he was not checking emails. The next day, the bout of sadness was even more intense. That day, he could not make any painting, he could not read any book, and he did not even cook food. Food that has been in the fridge for a few days. By evening, she had made a program for Saeed Ahmed's departure the next day. His thought was the only thing that was destroying him. She had forgotten that she had been alone for 9 years, more alone than that. In most cases. On that day, he received an email of 3 lines of Salah, and he read these 3 lines at least 30 times till that night. Hi sweetheart. How are you? This workshop has really nailed me down. How is your painting going? Love you. In response to these 3-sentence emails, he wrote a long email in which he described all his activities, one after the other. Third time after the second, she tells him that she is sad. Then he asks why. She tells him the reason of her sadness. Asterisk son. Why is your face down? Is there a problem? Why didn't he go with you? Saeed Imami fired him with his questions at the first look on his face. No, not at all. Maybe that's why she was alone in the house. He restores her with an artificial smile, but she is not convinced. Immediately after placing the garment bag in the room, Imam looked at himself in front of the mirror of the rising table. He looked really worried. Sani could have done it in the next 10 minutes. She was trying to relax her emotions. He smiled, breathed, and softened his facial expression, then gave up as if he were tired. Go to hell. What do you do when you are worried? How much do you smile? Then she came out. It was difficult to sleep here too. Sadness was the same here. You have never been so quiet before, son. What happened to you? By the next evening, Saeed Imami was definitely thinking, "How are you happy?" She was worried and she started looking at his face. The sadness was overwhelming. It wasn't about happiness. It wasn't about whether he was happy with her or not. It was just about him. To live with happy or sad, but with it. Instead of answering Saeed Imami, she changed the subject. She stayed there for 2 days and then came back to the world of Chinese. "But you said you will stay till I come." Salah is surprised at her return. "My pleasure." She wanted to say something else but it is not known what she said. Oh, he was surprised at the answer. "I am going to Canada for 2 weeks after the workshop from New York." Salah told him the following news. "What do you mean?" "There was a medical emergency while my colleague was attending a conference in Montreal. I have been asked to go to the conference immediately because I have a visa and I am also close." He could not speak due to shock for 2 weeks and was asked to stay outside so that he would come back to Pakistan 1 week after Eid. "Hello." Salah checked his presence on the line after his long silence. "Will you come after Eid?" He overcame the despondency of his tone and tried to remind Salah that Eid was near. "Yes." Was there a literal answer? Of course. He remembered it. "What will I do on Eid?" She didn't understand what to talk to him about. She was at the end of her despair at that time. A week's wait turned into 3 weeks. "This apartment is for you being alone," and he started getting angry on Salah. "You will go to Islamabad on Eid." Salah said, "No. I'll live in it. It's okay to stay. Why are you sending?" He was angry with the bank manager. Such an emergency happens when they can't send anyone else from Pakistan on so much notice. And they told me where to go. Salah explained. To be continued.